Mirror work forces you to face parts of yourself that you'd rather not. Changing the way that you use and relate to mirrors. What do you use a mirror for? A lot of people would probably say something that we can rely on just to check that we look ready for the outside world. We spend an awful lot of time facing and serving other people around us, particularly if we are a parent. We might care for our parents, animals even, in a job where we've got to face customers all the time and we're making sure they're okay. Imagine if the only time we saw our friends was when we just wanted to check in on if they looked perfect before they went out into the world. I don't want to see you after the interview unless the interview goes well. That's not how it should work with our friends. That's also not how it should work with ourselves. If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. I think we should have that same attitude about ourselves. It just starts with simply looking on a regular basis for no reason other than to acknowledge ourselves. Realizing ultimately there is someone else in the room. Often we don't really consider the fact that we are another body, another need to assist to. See yourself not so much as just, oh, that's my reflection, it's just bouncing back what I'm doing. Start seeing this person here as you do a friend or even a stranger on the street. For a lot of people, physically, that's very difficult because they're not happy with their body. Focus on the eye. It's not about the body that's carrying your name. Our eyes never really change. However, you know, our hair, our skin, our teeth is forever changing. Have you ever looked at a picture of your great aunt or grandma and you look at her eyes and you're like, whoa, they look like mine? Or if you haven't seen a friend for years and they might have changed all the way around in these different areas, but then you look at their eyes and you're like, whoa, I recognize you from your eyes, they just haven't changed. We kind of see our child self because those eyes have always looked back at us. What baby have you ever seen that looks into a mirror and start saying, why does my nose look like that? Or start thinking about insecurities? Those are things that we learn and we picked up on, and that's where we want to get back to, reconnecting to that idea of, oh my god, that's my reflection, this is me, and having fun with it and just being goofy. That's what kids do, they pull faces. Babies in particular are so fascinated by their reflection. And then over time, I don't know what happens, but we get older and older and get less and less interested with looking. Face areas that you might often shy from or question. What is my purpose? What am I doing here? Everybody has been exposed to the realities of life. Adult living isn't easy, it's tough. That would have come into play over time, which gets in the way of yourself and your mission. Parents, teachers, friends, those with the best and greatest intentions would have played a little part into your exposure of what's right, what's wrong. How much of myself is me and how much of that is my parents, my teachers, the books I've read, programs, documentaries I've watched, people just throwing their opinions in my face. When you're stuck in a conundrum, you're on the fence about something, you're undecided about career goals, honestly the easiest thing you can do is just to sit in front of a mirror and ask yourself the questions that you're constantly asking your mum or your best friends about. I don't know whether I want to do that. I don't know if I should leave my job. I don't know if I should be with this person. Your question starts with I, but you're looking at your boyfriend, your best friend, your parent. They're not going to know the answer to that question. Do you know who is? Ask yourself big questions and get answers. All of the things that you discover in mirror work is exposure around the idea of yourself, who you are, what that means, what you need. If you're not really someone for meditation, you can do that same thing from a mirror, because every answer that you're going to need for a lot of stuff that is to do with your intuition and gut and guidance is going to be standing right in front of you. Allowing some time in your schedule as you would a friend that you're going to go see yourself. And this isn't about loving every inch of your skin and body for everything it is. It's not always going to be like that. The days aren't always going to look that great, and you're not always going to look that great, but being there for yourself regardless. How we manage to pull through that, I have no idea. And sometimes you've just got to laugh. In the same way that if your sister or your best friend has a bad day, you're not all of a sudden going to be like, you've had a bad day. I only want to talk to you when you're looking great, when you're showing up for yourself. Because you had your eyes focused on other individuals, you were hearing what their body language, what their needs, what their eyes were saying. A friend tells you that they've found a new partner, they've been together for a couple of months, and their face lights up, they're glowing, and you're like, I'm so happy for you. And I can tell you're with the right person, you're doing the right thing. That's what you need to start recognizing in yourself. Look at your clothes and be like, I love fashion. I want to be able to have more finance flowing into my life so I can spend more money on beautiful dresses or spend more money on my children or my family. And I look tired. Some people might just realize that the reflection is just showing them the neglect. Girl, life isn't easy, is it? Like, God, adulthood is tough. Actually, like, parenthood is really difficult. I don't know how I've managed to cope as much as I have, and I'm not thanking you for that. Loneliness that you sense from your eyes and your presence. It's like, I need to go find myself someone that can bring me love, can bring me companionship and go on adventures with me, because I don't do that enough. I see that I am a mum, a married woman. You might have suffered physical injuries and your body's just done what it needs to do and fixed you up, and you've gone on your merry way and kind of forgotten about the incredible recovery that you've made. A whole world of stuff that you might be facing now that you're facing. And don't be afraid to just chat away your reflection a little bit more. Smirk. Sometimes looking at myself in the reflection after a period of time that I've had that's been really fun or even really difficult, or a goal that I achieved. You did that. No, you did that. And just sit with her. It can sometimes be quite like emotional for some people. I think particularly if you haven't listened to yourself for a while, it can be quite vulnerable to suddenly sometimes even face the consequences of that. Maybe a little bit shameful for some people to realize that they haven't done it for a long time, and that there is someone watching back at their face and saying, where have you been? Why haven't we worked on this thing that we wanted to do since we were a kid? Do you remember when we used to do this? Do you remember how fun that used to be? Where are we trying to reach? Are we profiting in joy when we're taking part in these activities, when we're at work or when we're with our friends? There's probably a lot of those kind of questions that you can set aside ready to ask yourself when you're sitting in front of the mirror. The stuff that was really already going on and chatting away, you'll start to listen. It makes us face that and be like, I know what I now need to do, things that I need to stop, ties I need to cut. You might even find that a lot of the discoveries that you have not really what you want to hear, because a lot of the time it can expose things getting in the way of the things that you want. Is actually, it's you. We are our own blockages. I mean, the first step is just identifying them, right? Acknowledging them, realizing that they are there, chipping away at those blockages and bringing them back down, allowing our intentions to meet the spaces that we need to be. The element that's really necessary to getting what you want is believing that you deserve it. Past that point, you're literally capable of anything. You would do anything for a child, for instance, that you want to do well, across any obstacle and push any mountain just to make them happy. There is a little human being in there, waiting very patiently for you to stop tending to everybody else before you tend to them.